Hey guys, welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we will discuss about the external authentication with the help of the Radius Tacacs servers, right? And in the next lecture, we will see the LDAP authentication mechanism. Right now, admins are logging into this device with the help of local credentials. Now, with the help of the Radius protocol and Tacacs Plus, we will be able to authenticate the admins. We will create the accounts here, but authentication will be done on these servers, right? So, to set up the Radius server, we have this Windows machine here, right? And there is a service called WinRadius, right? You can launch this particular service and it will let you run this service. So what you need to do, you need to go to operations, you need to you know you can add the users, you can delete, modify, right? And before that you need to go to advanced and not advanced, you need to go to the settings and you need to go to multi-secret, right? And you will define your secret here, right, for your IP address, firewall IP address. And you need to also go to your database and you need to give it a name, admin, and user table name, billing table name. Rest of the things will remain same. Okay. And then you will go to multi-secret and we will use Cisco 123 as our secret and our IP will be 10.2.2.1. From this interface, firewall is going to communicate, right? So you need to define the user. Click on add user. Username Rohan admin, and then you can define the password here. Okay, you can group it admin, and that's it. Postpaid user based on time. Okay, user added successfully. And inside your firewall rules, you need to allow this communication. Uh, in the Windows firewall, you need to allow this communication because firewall will be reaching out to this server. It is going to hit this server. So we need to allow the communication. So let me just open up the Windows settings, Windows firewall. So we need to create the inbound rule. Meanwhile, let me just close other task. Okay, inside the firewall, you need to create the inbound rule and new rule. So port, next, TCP 1812. This is the port on which your Radius server will listen. Allow connection, domain private public. Give it a name, Radius server, finish. So once this is in place, right, now we can do the testing. So what you need to do inside your firewall, you need to click device, then in server profile you will have radius. So click to add radius profile, give it a name, radius server profile, and then you can define it whether it is administrator use only or how it is. So administrator use only, timeout, retries, authentication protocol we will use CHAP, right? And now we will add our server. So the IP address of this machine is 2.2.7. So radius server, and the IP address 10.2.2.7 secret. Okay, click OK, and then we are going to apply it on our administrator. So on Rohan, now we will use the authentication profile as radius. Okay, we have not created any profile yet. So just go to authentication profile, click add, give it name radius auth profile. Type will be radius. Server profile will be radius, right? And user domain, user modifier, these details not required right now. We will do it later on. And if you need to add factors, you can add it. In advance, you need to allow the user, right? So it's like all, click OK. And then in administrator, go to Rohan and apply this profile. And now you can commit the change. One more thing I forgot to do. So basically you need to go to setup, because by default these services will try to exit through management interface, right? So we need to go to services, we need to go to service route configuration, because as per topology, this server is reachable via Ethernet 1 by 2, not through management, right? So what you need to do, service route configuration, and you need to go customize, and there will be radius service available here. So you need to reach it via Ethernet 1 by 2, and this is going to be my IP address. Okay, okay, and once this job is done, then we can commit this change as well. Okay, so if you try to commit right now, it will tell you that already a commit is in progress. So it will queue, your commit got queued. Okay, so if you just check task, so once this will finish, then your next commit will be started. So this is how we do. So once this is done, then we will try to log in through that administrator. Right now we have not created the password locally, we have created the user account here. The server is up and running, right? So we'll try to see if user will be able to authenticate successfully or not. Not the user, sorry, it will be the administrator. So always remember, you need to modify the service route configuration. If your services are not reachable through management server, you need to make sure that you are modifying these details. Otherwise, the servers will not be reachable, and it will not proceed. So see, service route configuration push is in progress. So now if I will go incognito, and if I will try to log in into my firewall, and if I will uh, enter the credentials, and here if you are able to see the logs that user credentials entered, verified or not, it means you are able to reach your server. If you are not able to see the logs, it means some sort of problem is there, right, between the firewall and the server. So if I will try now, so no hit, right? So if you see no communication between the firewall and the servers, in that case you need to check whether there is a basic connectivity or basic reachability is there, right? So invalid username and password, because we are not able to authenticate it. So this is about to complete. Meanwhile, you can also check, there is one daemon auth d, right? So you can check tail follow yes, mplog auth_d.log, right? So now we can try again. We can just go incognito. So if you do this, here you will be able to see whether we are able to reach the server, successfully connected to the server. Similarly, you can see user Rohan admin authenticate OK. So if this is successful, here you will see the login, the new administrative session. So you can verify the logs, the authentication request received for, I will show you the logs. Let me just see whether it is done. Yeah, it is completed. So let me stop the logs, debugs. Okay. So now you will be able to see that this particular Rohan, this profile got triggered admin user through web UI, right? Rohan admin, and then get admin authenticate profile by name. So we got the authentication profile, radius auth profile, then admin user through web UI, auth request without VSys, auth profile, we got it. Then MFA is not configured, keep original username, right? We will see all these details in in user ID section, but here I'm just covering it so that you get glimpse of it. And now you can see succeed to connect to the server on this particular destination socket, successfully connected, response code radius access accept. It means the server has authenticated this user, right? And after successful authentication, the auth status is successful. Now authentication is success. User was able to log in into the machine, right? This is the IP address, server IP address. This is the user IP address, the Rohan's laptop IP address from where he has logged in into this particular web UI. Okay, so this is how we do troubleshooting, and if something is failing, we can check why it is failing. Okay, so successful login, and you can see the time as well. Okay, so this is radius. Now what we need to do is we will configure Tacacs plus. So Tacacs service is already running in my this management Linux, right? So Tacacs protocol will be reachable via management network because firewall interface is connected to this management network, and there is a connectivity between this management interface and the Linux. So you can check it out. So ping source um, 192.168.1.10 host 192.168.1.31, right? So reachability is there, and my Tacac server is running on this Linux. So let me close Windows and let me open this Linux, right? So let me log in. So my Tacac server is running here, right? And let me show you. So you can check the status, service Tacacs plus status. So you will be able to see that whether the service is up and running. So you can see active and running. Let me see whether we have the user entry in the file or not. So cd slash etc slash Tacacs plus, right? And then if you do ls-la, so tag plus file config is there, right? So you can concatenate or you can do nano if you need to make any changes into this file. So we will do cat tag plus just to view the content of the file. So default username, password. So this is the beginning. Key is testing 123, which we need to define. Okay. And user is defined here I've already created the user. Password is test123. Let's modify the password and keep it default, which I'm using. So just go nano tac and here just make it Cisco123. Cisco123. Control O, enter X, and then we need to restart the service because we have made the changes. So restart and then check the status. Up and running. Cool. Okay. So now let's go back to the firewall and just go to server profiles. So here no need to change the service route for Tacacs because it is reachable via management network. So you can see Tacacs plus use default. Default is management. So go to Tacacs plus, click on add and give it a name, Tacacs server. Administrator use only authentication protocol chap. Click on add Tacacs. Then define the IP address. Secret is testing123 if I'm not wrong. We can check it out. Yeah, testing123. Testing123. Port 49. Okay. Now we will create the auth profile and you can define the name Tacacs auth profile. Type will be Tacacs plus server profile. You need to call it out. Advanced, allow all. Okay. Now go to administrator and in Rohan admin, just call this newly created profile. So now the log will not go to the you know this radius server. It will go to the Tacac server. And how can we verify that? We can verify with the help of this debug on the authd daemon to see where my packet is going. So initially it went to this particular destination socket. Now it will go to 192.168.1.31 on port 49. So let's verify that. So let me log out from here. Yeah, and let's wait for this commit to complete and then we can do this testing. And meanwhile, this Tacacs is like if you need to understand the basic flow, how these authentication servers are working, what is the backend packet flow, right? So we have the advanced course available where everything has been covered in detail. So you can subscribe to that course so that you will be able to understand how these protocols and these servers, these authentication server works, in the backend. So the change is successful now, almost done, right? So let me run the debugs on the authentication daemon. Tail follow yes. Okay. Now let's do one thing. Let me try to log in again and let me enter the username, password, and let's verify where the handshake is going. So you can see it is going to 168 1.31, right? And successful login. So let me see if we are able to log in. Yeah, we are able to log in, right? And you can see the logs. So let me just stop it. So you can see here that we have received the authentication request for admin user through web UI, right, for Rohan admin. And then we found the profile Tacacs auth profile. MF is not configured. And then you can see Tacacs auth profile is there, right? Then connecting timeout, user privilege admin, attempting CHAP authentication, author created, author sent, tag author status, right? Then authorization failed for the first time. Sync request for user is failed or possibly timed out. You can see, right? And then we received the auth successful. Local admin account for remote user. Admin exists. Authentication is successful. You can see this server profile, CHAP protocol we are using, and it's done. My authentication is successful and admin was able to log in into this. This is how we create the profiles, authentication profiles. In fact, you can also define the authentication sequence. Let's say first let me define the sequence, auth sequence. So what I'm going to do is, you know, use domain to determine authentication profile. No, I don't want that at present. I will do it later on. So first I will check the radius. If user is not in radius, then it should go and check Tacacs. Okay. So let's click OK. And now in administrator, what you can do is in Rohan, instead of authentication profile, you can call the authentication sequence, right? And you can click OK. So what it will do, it will first check the radius profile. If user is there in radius, it will be authenticated and it will be allowed. If user is not there in radius, then it will fall back to the Tacac server. So this is how we can create the authentication sequence, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the console of this, right? And what I'm going to do, I'm going to delete the user. Delete user. Just enter the name. So we can see delete user successfully. Now when the authentication will hit this radius server, that username will not be able to authenticate. So we will get, the failure here. And then in the logs, we will be able to see that it is failing back to Tacac server, right? So let me see. Yeah, it is almost done. And let me log out from here, from the incognito window. Okay, so it is almost done. Let me just run the debugs again. Okay, so it is almost done. Wait for it. So it is next to complete only. Yeah, so let's go ahead. Rohan admin. So if I do this, so here you can see authentication failed, unknown username, but user is able to log in. Reason, the user has been, you know, authenticated via Tacacs. So I will show you the flow here. So here we have received the authentication for Rohan admin, right? So if you see receive request, right? Admin user through web UI, and we have the auth request. So we have the auth profile as authentication sequence. So first we tried contacting the Radius server, right? So Radius server authentication username is this, and you can say auth failed. radius access reject, right? So first we tried with the radius, but that got failed. Right after that, it fall back to the Tacacs auth profile. You can see here. First it checked the radius auth profile. User got failed. Then it checked Tacacs. In Tacacs, user was there, right? And so my radius was rejected. No issue. I don't have any issue in that. Then it tried establishing the connection with the Tacacs. Here you can see. And in fact, you can see these daemons as well, pan auth d, Tacacs plus authentication, right? So when it communicates with the server, here pan auth d radius parse response payload. So we have child daemons, different child daemons for the different server types. So here you can see authentication was successful, and with the help of Tacacs profile, user was able to log in. So here we got the login page, right? So this is how it works. I mean, you can create multiple auth profiles, then you can sequence them together so that if user is not present in radius or it is not present in TechX, we can create the fallback mechanisms, right? So in the next video, we will see how we can, configure the Active Directory. We will create the same user in the Active Directory, and then we will configure the server profile for LDAP, and we will see how we can do the configuration, we can do the authentication with LDAP, right? And same goes with Kerberos. So Kerberos I'm not going to cover in the next lecture. It will be covered later on in the course videos. Thanks for watching this video.